All right, guys, get your attention again. What we discovered is that what I was trying to figure out before class started tonight was how do you get the hatches that are going to translate into Illustrator directly. So apparently we can, because that's what just happened accidentally. And so I'm trying to troubleshoot this, and I think if you get rid of the panel here on Bake It, so rather than overriding it with a panel, I think if you right-click and, sorry, let me get rid of this other stuff there. Go back to the origin, nothing there. Yeah, make sure there's nothing here first. And go back to Bake It and right-click, and let's try Set Data Item real fast. And set it to 1. So if you set Data Item, go to 1, and commit changes, I think maybe the panel isn't reading properly for the settings to give you the correct output. So then you select it and right click, and let's try Bake. Okay. And now it's doing what it just did to you again, and it's not exporting. So why not?
Wait, can you go over that again? You click it, and then on the top
See, mine's still making meshes. Fine. All right, there's something we got to figure out about yours. Hold on.
When you select it, it'll tell you.
Guys, check it out. His computer is not really going to tell you much right now because we don't know what it is. We have to identify what it is.
Mine made individual curves.
Okay. All right. So let's see if we can identify this. All right. So we have our sample file. 3D graph weather data. It's in the class file right here. 16 Spring Arc 222. Definitions, weather data corrected, 3D graph weather data. You will probably have to remap the file location. So for me, I use the one that I have on the drive right here. And what it's going to do is rerun the whole thing. It'll put it on this layer over here under Ladybug 3D Charts, Fullerton, Municipal. Notice how as soon as I reset the file path, it actually gave me another graph. Okay, so we've got I don't know all of the functionality yet of this, obviously. So just be careful that you're not recomputing it all the time and creating graph after graph after graph. So the way to check that it's working is to select what it creates and make sure that it shows hatches up here instead of meshes. All right, so it shouldn't be anything different than what we did a second ago. We just open the file, remap here, and actually when you remap it, it should auto-generate. So just check that your layer is on and just make sure that it's hatches. Okay. If it's not hatches, then we'll have to figure something out. Okay, but it should be hatches. So, yeah, and delete meshes if you have them. So I'll walk around and I'll help you guys through this real fast. So to properly export this, right, we wanted hatches. Okay, so the problem I was having before is that I didn't realize that this component was actually creating this layer for me. So every time I either recomputed or regenerated the information or relinked the file, it was creating a whole new set of meshes. So anytime you recompute, you're going to have that happen to you. So you'll have to be careful about how you're generating these and getting rid of all the excess information, or else your files are going to get huge really fast. So just be careful with that. So now that we have hatches, which would be the proper export object, it's really as simple as saying File, Export Selected, go to DWG, I think I called it Test A, Save. I think you could actually just export it directly to an Illustrator file too. And then when you open it up, so file open, navigate to that location. Sure, scale to fit artboard. There it is. Oh, it didn't export the black ones.
Yeah, no, what you gotta do is you can't select everything because then the mesh will come up, so you kind of have to know where the writing is to bring it up.
Well, no, I mean these.
Oh.
Because that's a problem. If I wanted them all to be black. Because what's happening here is it's taking this information that it reads as black and it's filtering it through AutoCAD, which, for those of you who know AutoCAD, when you have something that's white in model space turns black in paper space, so it inverts them if they're pure black. So I guess I could change the color, or let me try real fast. I'm going to try exporting as an Illustrator file and see if that will correct it.
Oh, but if you don't have black, you're good.
Yeah, if you don't have black, it should be okay. That's a guess. That's a guess. It might not be true.
I don't have black, so that's why mine came out all the way it looks like on you.
So yours came out properly?
Yeah.
And, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Okay. So I'm going to call this one test B for Illustrator. All default settings, guys. And then file open. Test B. There it is. Okay. So what we know now is that when you're doing an AutoCAD export as your medium, you're actually going to wind up with the black will convert to white. But otherwise, you're going to get it directly. If you do it in Illustrator, you'll get the direct output as true color. So, all right. So the other thing that you're going to have to just kind of clean up is stuff like this, where Rhino actually created multi-line text out of that. And so if you have to clean it up, well, this isn't going to do it because it's Illustrator. That's right. I guess you could just pull it down if you wanted to do it real fast, or you could retype it. So Illustrator doesn't do this kind of text very well. Okay. So, yeah, that's awesome, because I thought for a second that that feature didn't exist, and I went to this particular thread saying mesh export to Illustrator, where people were talking about being able to convert your meshes and then get them to Illustrator. I didn't realize that it was generating these proper surfaces for us the whole time, the hatches. So that's great. All right, so that just got far easier. Our next step then, what we're going to do for our assignment here really is producing a couple of these, and we're going to put them on the sheet just like this, and format them properly. So I wanted to get you an Illustrator so that you're looking at how do I scale things, how do I have them colorized, how do I change the color of text, and reformat this kind of stuff. The other component is that I want to have 3 graphs, and I also want to have a sheet that shows your sun angle diagram. So for those of you who are in design, how far along are you with your projects?
We're supposed to test shadows and wind diagrams.
Okay. Oh, you said you were doing that in our class already?
No,
This class? In that class. Okay, yeah, because that's next week. We're going to be doing that kind of stuff.
We did site analysis, we did most of our site analysis, but to our knowledge, and he's gonna.
Okay. All right. So for those of you who are in the design class, we're going to do we're going to do just a digital display of the sun path diagram around your building, as well as. No, we're just doing that for now, actually. So we're going to have one sheet that has 3 of these, and I have certain requirements for them, and I'll outline them in just a second, but then we're also going to do a sun path diagram with your model in it. Okay. For those of you who do not have design, I need to steal one of the design students' projects to use for this. And I'll show you the import process for that after we get all three of these, probably. No, we can move on to that next. Okay, so all right, so yeah, we're gonna have to do that next then. Questions about this process? I know it was really, really crazy getting here, but it's actually incredibly simple now that we've figured it out. Yes?
Ours looks blurry.
It's supposed to look blurry. So remember when I was talking to you about vector and raster? What we created in Rhino is essentially, I mean, it's all built out of vector processing, but it is a raster image. Because you're breaking down all the hours of each day throughout the year in little blocks. Right? Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so let's move on to the sun path diagram then.